All right. I hope, who met somebody new? Hands up, hands up, hands up, hands up high. Yes. Good, good, good. All right, I'm going to do a countdown. Do I have to count down like my kids? What is it? 1. It's okay. I love the energy. I love energy. All right, everybody. So we're gonna get started with what you really came here for, which is not me, but some awesome info on marketing in today's market. So I'm really excited, super excited to introduce and bring up Ryan Dixon, who is our mail coach. We've been working together. We just talked about it for like 4 years. Been doing all of our mail. And it's been incredible. Every time we have a question, I'm like, hey, Ryan, what did we do? What do we do here? Hey, this isn't working. How do we tweak this? How do we add on? And he's like, well, let me just tell you what the data says. He doesn't just say, oh, well, I think maybe this will work. No, that's not how it works. He's an investor too, and he knows how much this money means going out for marketing. So his company's been around for 30 years, and they've been collecting this specific data for over 15 years, so they know exactly what's going on, and they actually send mail for some of the biggest companies in the country, so they get to pull on big time data sets, right? So we get to leverage that and go to him, and like I said, he's our coach. Like, he actually coaches and counsels us on what to do. So I'm super excited to invite you up. I'm not going to talk anymore about it. I'll let you talk about it. So Ryan Dixon from all the way from St. Louis, everybody, bring him on.
Thank you. All right, testing, 1, 2. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be here. I've been talking to Andrew and Michelle about it for a long time, and finally got the ability to do it. And so I'm going to go through some slides. I want to warn you, I've got ADD, so I don't stay on track. I usually kind of flow a little bit. I don't follow a script well, but hopefully we have some fun. Direct mail, what's less fun, right? Direct mail is awesomely fun. And so, but no, it really is. And actually, we make a lot of people a lot of money. And if you're sitting there right now and you're saying, I need more deals, well, we can talk about it. We could actually mathematically, scientifically figure it out. And so that's what we do. All of the stuff that we do for Andrew, we can do for you, and it's all free. I mean, you pay us for paper and ink, but that's it. The coaching, the strategy, kicking my chair when something doesn't work or when something works really well and you need to turn it off, right? Because you're too busy and you have to close deals. All of that stuff is free. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I am a real estate investor in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been doing it this was actually the company that I was using for my marketing, and I ended up working there after I sold my convenience stores. And I believed in mail very heavily because I did it. It worked for me. I kept doing it. And I'm pretty much a wholesaler and a buy and hold. I'm a landlord. I'm a horrible fix and flipper. I don't do rehabs well. Maybe it's the attention deficit thing. I don't know. I don't have the patience for it. But I love being a landlord. And so usually I'm sending mail every month. Now I'm starting to go. It's weird. I'm actually going towards multi-unit now too. I didn't know that about Andrew. But that's really kind of where I'm heading. And really my passion is making the phone ring for real estate investors because it's a win-win. I get to learn the best strategies that are working in the United States from the people that are doing them every single day. I'll give you an example. My largest client sends about now 600,000 pieces of mail per month. And so they're in multiple cities, right? But that's my largest. I get to help new investors get to their first deal every week. Every week it happens to me. And if you ever go on Google and type in REI print mail, you can see some of these awesome stories. We always ask, especially for the people that just got their first deal. We say, go to Google, say something about it. Because sometimes you need to borrow courage from them, the people that just did it. And we're sitting here talking about, that you don't know if you can do it. But you can. And it's the greatest industry in the world. It's absolutely fantastic, and I believe in it very much. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, and 36 million pieces. That's what I sent last year. for real estate investors. So when you take that kind of data and we have it in every aspect across the country, this is for subject to, this is for wholesale, this is also for fix and flips. Do you think that the deal that Andrew just went over, let me ask you a question. Do you think that if he would have got a direct offer check that had 80% of the market value on that check that said, I just want to give you an offer, right? 200,000, 270,000, whatever it was, but 80% of the market rate, do you think he would have called? Because he was that kind of guy, right? He's like, yeah, I just want the money, right? And so I'm going to show you that's actually one of the tactics that we're using right now in this really aggressive marketplace, but people are making a whole bunch of money. So we're going to go over who we are, what we do, what the heck is a direct marketing coach, the mail pieces that I'm sending here right now. And we're going to go over some ways to move forward and some questions. And you're going to want to have your phone out, have it on, because I'm going to give away 1,000 pieces of mail and a free 1,000-piece list to somebody. It's $900 value, so you're going to have to text to get it, so get your phone ready. All right, so 29, you actually now, I have, as you can see, I haven't updated this in a while. We are now 30 years, 30 years old. We are based in St. Louis, Missouri. It's kind of a mecca for a lot of things, real estate investing. We have a lot of cool companies. Some of the companies that were up on the screen there are actually based in St. Louis. And so we work with some of the biggest companies in the United States, some of the biggest CRMs and some of the biggest, of course, real estate investors, but also the list building systems. That's really, really key because I help you build lists. Because not all list sources work the same in each area. And I get to see when a list source doesn't work so hot. So I'll go over that more. But we're innovators in the marketplace. We took some of those things about data. We took some of those things about response rate. And we're going to talk about what is reverse texting because we invented that. But we took some of those things and we're first to market. One of the things you might know about. You ever seen the Google image of a picture on a mail piece? I'm sure you've got a lot of landlords in here, so you get the mail piece and it says, is this your house? I want to buy it. And you see a picture of it. So we got the first cease and desist from Google. We wear that badge very proudly. And so our clients usually seek us out when they want to build their response rate, when they don't know what mail pieces are working in their area, basically when they want to grow their business. And it doesn't matter, small or large. So if you're a really big investor and you want to take a percentage of your marketing budget and you want to automate it, you want to get inbound leads because you may be a little bit tired of the cold calling or you may be tired of the texting or maybe the driving for dollars isn't scalable. So those kinds of things, that's why our clients reach out to us and of course, to get their first deal. And we do all of this by creating direct mail campaigns and building lists. And we have some new programs. We have a probate subscription program, an inheritance subscription program, where we send people physically into your courthouses and they grab the data and then they send it to you. Skip traced with mail on the way as soon as you get the list. So that's a pretty cool thing. Here is some of the innovation. AccuPix mailers, that's that Google image. That's what we originally invented, and we thought this is so cool, and then everybody else went and did it. And so, well, of course, we couldn't patent it, right? It's not our technology, it was Google. But because we were first to market, we did awesome with it, and it did great for years and years and years. Doesn't work so hot right now. But that's because there's a little bit of different dynamics going on in this marketplace. I'm seeing that either you have to go super aggressive way over here, like send them an offer and say, I want to buy your house and here's the offer, right? Who else is doing that? Hedge funds, right? Hedge funds are doing that, right? Or we need to go way over here to the left and we need to be personal, handwritten. Hey, I'm just a cool guy that buys houses. I know you don't trust business. I know you don't trust politics. I know you don't trust anybody. But trust me, I'm just a cool guy that buys houses, right? So I'm seeing that one or the other are working right now, and that's happening right now in this state. But going down the middle, that's not working so hot right now, right? Sending a letter going, I'm a really good company. I'm a big company, and I'm fantastic, and I'm just really great, and give me a call. That's not working so hot. We got to do something a little bit better. Let's talk about AccuText. So what is reverse texting? We call it reverse texting. We call it AccuText. We're going to use it later. That's actually how you're going to try to win the 1,000-piece mail campaign. But AccuText is, well, let's put it this way. If you brought me or bought from me a 10,000 address list, then we append that list or add to that list 10,000 separate short codes. And then we print them on each mail piece. And you can see some of the examples in your kit. If you don't have one, make sure and get one before you leave. So when they get it, and the seller gets it and goes, okay, for a fair cash offer, text ABCD to 1234 or call. And you've got your regular tracking number, your call rail number, your CRM number, whatever you use. And they go, you know, I want to talk to him, but I don't want to talk to him right now. You know, I feel like I want to get an offer, but I just don't want to talk to her. So they text that short code. And when they do that, two things happen. One, you get an email lead. That can be put into your CRM. That can follow up with automation. A lot of things can happen doing it that way, right? You get an email lead with their first name, last name, property address, mailing address, and cell phone number. And then they get a text message from our system parading as you, basically going, hey, here's who I am. Thanks for texting. I'll be reaching out soon. Here's my contact information. Talk to you soon. Pretty powerful stuff. Why is it powerful? Well, because if you've been sending mail as long as me, you're frustrated about a few things. Like maybe one when you know, they call, yeah, you sent me some mail. And they go, you know, what's the offer? And you go, great. Thank you for calling. What's your address? Well, you should know my address, right? You sent me the mail, right? And you go, well, I send a lot of these. So I'm sorry about that, but I just don't know. So now with this AccuText product, you can, you know, you're not saying, hey, stranger, where do you live? You're saying, you know, hey, Barb, I see you got a property at 1422 Floraville Lane. And I want to talk to you about making an offer on it. Love the neighborhood. We love the neighborhood and we want to invest in it. And so that immediately those walls come down, right? There's a little bit more trust there. And so that's what makes AccuText really, really powerful. And that's why it's on about 20 to 30% of the mail that we send across the country. And so when somebody comes into the South Carolina market or comes into the North Carolina market or the California market or any market, and they just pick, let's say, 100 or 200 pieces of mail, that's dangerous. Don't do it, right? But let's say they do. And they pick a piece that I would have never recommended because I don't see it in my data. And then they choose to add AccuText, right, to that, then I get to see how it does. And then sometimes, every once in a while, they knock it out of the park. And when they do, I get to tell people like Andrew. I get to tell people like you. So this happened recently. We have a product, and I'm gonna see how I get to look. Let me just get back on track. Goodness me. Direct marketing coaches. What is it? I give you advice. You guys get the idea. I give you advice. It's free. So if I have all this data, why not set a meeting with me? All of you should set a 1-hour meeting with me, or at least 30 minutes. Let me tell you about what I think will work in this market, depending on what you're doing. Somebody was just talking about doing arbitrage in here for Airbnbs and things like that. We do mail specifically for that, right? Subject to. I could help you learn how to pull a list a little bit better for that and send certain verbiage, right? So here's the direct marketing. I'm the handsome one, the bald one. Okay, so hey, you recognize that? So we invented a fake stamp. This is one of our, here's the pieces that we are sending here, okay? So we invented the fake stamp. If you're sending a handwritten piece, don't put a cartoon caveman on it, if you know what I'm talking about. Right? You need to make it look like it's handwritten. They need to actually think. Anybody ever sent a handwritten piece and they go, yeah, you handwritten me that postcard. And you're like, no way, they thought that. That's crazy. Right? But it works. It works. Same with this one. Now this is tougher to read, but it's working right now. We think that gives it its superpower because you have to read it very closely, and it's very, very personal. It's very personal. It says, if you don't mind, and I'd really like to talk about. Remember, that's on this side of that spectrum, right? It's way over here, right? It's on that very personal side. Now we're getting to the way opposite side. Way opposite. Sorry we missed you, right? Something's weird, right? Am I going to lose my house? Did somebody put a sticker on my door? Why is it in my mailbox? Usually these are on my door. What's going on? This is cute, right? But you can see that we're actually putting a price of the home on there. This is called direct offer mail. It is number one in the United States right now. And it is number one because aggressive is working better than anything else. And so what we found with that little story, let's go back, what we found was that this product, which we had already created, it wasn't a variable price, we just had it in our library. It's a fake check. We're not allowed to say that anymore. It's an offer check. Okay, so this check was already in our library, and somebody ordered it, and then they started using it in places like Jersey, and they started using it in places like New York. Why? We have theories. We think that they scream at each other and curse at each other as a second language anyway, right? So everybody was kind of okay with the fact that you were going to get angrier phone calls, because it used to get much angrier phone calls, right? But then, all of a sudden, our Accutext product, when people started adding it, we started seeing it. We started seeing it in Montana, in Kansas, in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and places like that. And we're like, what the heck's going on? So we called them, and we go, why the, at the time it was fake check, but why the offer check? And they said, well, COVID checks were getting ready to go out, so we thought it might be a good idea. Duh! That's fantastic. That's genius. So the first thing we do is we take that. I ran to the VP's office and go, we got to make this better. We got to make it better. We got to figure out how do we make this better. And we came up with, why don't we send a percentage of the market rate of the home, because that's usually in the list that you buy. It's not in a Driving for Dollars list, but it is if you buy a list from any of the big list sources out there. Right? So when you get that, there's some kind of an estimated value or some kind of a market value or some kind of a market rate, usually a conservative number to Zillow. And if only we knew the special percentage to put on there, that would make people raise their hand and not be angry. And every once in a while, you could go, yeah, I'll take that deal, because you've already made them an offer. And we did. We figured it out. So right now, it's in between 79 and 82%. Right now, 79 and 82%. And we are sending a lot of these. Easily the number one piece in the company. This is another piece here. But it's hard to read this one, because I don't know if you guys can read it. Yeah, you can probably read it up there. It's pretty aggressive. Top dollar, it says, right? So, I mean, this is aggressive. So this is working for a reason. So we're still way over here on that right side of the spectrum, where it's super, super aggressive and we're going to name a price. You have to pick some kind of a percentage of the market rate. Not on this card, but some people are adding it to this card. I don't think there's a price on this one, but some people are choosing to add it. We're doing a lot more custom. And now sometimes we're doing things like this. This is a really big piece. This is 11 by 17. Starts off this size, right? And they get it. And it says, I'm sending you a big letter because I want to make you a big cash offer, right? We're still very aggressive. And then they open it up like this, and it's a poster, right? I mean, that's going to get past the trash can. Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? We just got to get past the trash can. And I don't care. We can make it to the junk drawer, right? We can make it to the fridge. We can make it anywhere we want. We just don't want to be in the trash can. Because eventually what happens with mail is something that I refer to as compounding interest. Compounding interest is simply when you've been sending mail for as long as I have, and as long as Andrew has, as long as some of my top 20% of my clients, they start getting natural growth. Why? Because somebody goes, yeah, you mailed me about 6-8 months ago, 2 years ago, right, a year ago, and I'm just ready to go. They've been selling themselves every single time they see that piece. And they knew something was going to happen. I'm going to get that divorce. So-and-so this is going to happen. So-and-so's getting ready to croak. Like this has got, now I just need to be ready. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the junk drawer and I know where it's at. Right? We just have to get past the trash can and build that natural, reoccurring growth that's going to happen and grow naturally with mail over and over and over again. And that is why the best of the best do mail. That is why a lot of the people that are trying to get to their first deal, when they hear some of their mentors that have been doing mail for years, they go, yeah, but I can't send them much. They go, look, just start somewhere. Just start somewhere. But call Ryan or call one of the direct marketing coaches over at REI Print Mail and don't send the wrong stuff. At least send the right stuff, right? And tell them your budget so that they can make it work safely for you. And that's why we work with so many coaches across the nation, because they don't want to be direct mail experts. Not very many people do. But we do. And so you can trust that if you call me and you set a meeting with me, then we're going to be able to go, this is kind of very basic, but again, it's people are adding that price. Now, the envelope is not. The envelope is actually, it's kind of a cross, because people are usually adding a direct offer to the letter, but they're using that cream envelope with it, so it's kind of on both sides of the spectrum. It's pretty interesting. But we're seeing a lot of that. Usually here it takes 2,000 to 3,000 pieces for you to get a deal. Andrew, is that about right? Okay, so now it depends on your tactic, right? If you're going for nicer homes and you're going for, homes here instead of maybe more on the outskirts. More on the outskirts, you can get more deals with less mail, but the deals are usually smaller, right? So real estate's relative that way. That's just how real estate is. Usually when it costs me less to get a deal, then I make a little bit less money, but I can make more of them. I can do more because I get more or a higher response rate. And so what you should focus on is really the strategy, the repetition of mail. So let me talk about what I think you should do with mail. Pretty simple. Here's the best way to do it. I came up with this because everybody was saying, what's the magic touch amount? There's so many studies, right? There's studies everywhere. 16 touches, 86 touches, 102 touches. That's the perfect amount of touch. And then they're going to buy the house, right? You got to send 186 pieces of mail to that one person, and then they're going to buy. The fact is there's all kinds of studies out there, and nobody knows the answer. And if anybody tells you that they do, just run. The fact is that it's somewhere in between 2 and 1 million. We don't know, so we have to do something a little bit more prudent. You pull your list, you mail it, the whole list, once a month for 90 days, and then you refresh your data. Why do we do that? Why do we refresh our data? I don't know if you've ever refreshed an absentee list, even an absentee list, which you would think doesn't change that often. They change. Oh, they change. Some of you are shaking your head because you had that moment where you refresh the list and you go, wow, 20% different. How does that happen? It's an absentee list. They do change. Okay, so at the end of that 90 days, whoops. There we go. At the end of that 90 days, when we refresh the data, what's in there? We've got the bad stuff that we can't buy anymore. It's gone, right? We're not wasting money on it. We're not going to mail to it again. The new stuff, right? That's in there, the low-hanging fruit, right? We're going to get that. And then there's still the stuff in there that we can buy. We can keep touching that, right? We can keep going after that. Eventually it will drop off and you won't mail to that, right? But while it's still on the chessboard, go for it. So every 90 days, refresh your data, and I see the best results out of that. Is there stuff I should be saying here? Control, test piece. Oh, if you're testing stuff, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We've all heard that before, right? But here's the deal. Too many times I talk to an investor, and they go, listen, I'm calling you because, all my friends use you, but this is what I want to send, and I want it to be blue paper, and I want it to be this, and I want it to be that, and I go, why do you want it to be those things? They go, well, I like it. I just think I like it, and I think it would be. It's not what you like, right? You're not losing your house. You're not in foreclosure. You're not trying to sell quickly, right? When's the last time you had that problem? And we're sitting there going, but I like it. That doesn't work. What you must do is look at the data. It's pretty simple. Look at the data and just send what works. And so a lot of times people come to me and go, I don't want to do what other investors are doing. If they're doing it, I don't want to do it. That's a real problem with the mindset. That's a real problem with that mindset. You should be wanting to work with them. How many times I picked up the phone on my first mail drop to a list, and they go, yeah, you've been mailing me for months, and I'm ready to sell, and I go, oh yeah, I have been mailing you for months, right? I just piggybacked off that investor, right? He's not going to know it, she's not going to know it, but the fact is that happens to you too. That happens to leads you've been marketing to. What you would rather do is do what works. And you would rather get more deals. I think we'd all agree on that. When we test something, though, and you decide to go to me and go, all right, Ryan, no, I just want to find something that's a holy grail, and I want to figure it out on my own, and we're going to do it together, cool. Crack open the wallet and let's get started, because that's what it's going to take. But when you do test, you have control pieces on the outside of that 90 days, and you have your test piece in the middle. Why? Because it's like a graph. We can see when it changes. Did that piece work? Did that control piece do better than the two outside pieces? So let's talk about this. Repetition. Offer check, postcard, offer check. That gives us repetition. You want them to pick up that mail piece and go, oh, there he is again. I was going to call him. I forgot to call him, but there he is again. We don't want to send something different every time. We want to find what works, and we want to keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. And then they're going to keep picking that up and going, oh yeah, and that becomes your brand, right? That becomes your brand. When we change it up, it's like we're trying to trick them. Because nobody's looking at the name. They're not going, oh, it's Carl again, right? They're going, there's that check again, right? So, but if we want to test the postcard, it's cheaper. Okay, fine. So the postcard's cheaper. Let's see if it works. Don't send a quarter's worth of postcards. Pick 1 month in the middle, send postcards, test it against your control piece. Your control piece is the check. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I know I can talk fast. Sorry, guys. All right. Repetition matters. That's the moral of that story. Okay, strategy. So I just went over that. That's just kind of an illustration of exactly what I just went over. So I'm not going to beat that dead horse. Okay, so steps to move forward. Let me tell you how you book a meeting with me. Ryan.reiprintmail.com. On the card, if you have a card down there, you can get one of my cards and just do the little. Isn't it crazy? We're all using QR codes all of a sudden, all the time now. Put a QR code on your mailing piece. Put them through your funnel. It works. We all know how to do it because we had to either use them at restaurants or go hungry. Okay, so basically, these are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a mailing list. You can buy it from me. You can bring your own mailing list. Most of my clients want me to tell them the filters that I use in their area. Most of them do. And so that's fine. We can do that on the meeting. I can go over it. You can bring me a list or you can buy one from me. We need to know what mail piece you want. We need to know the imprint information. We need to know phone numbers. And there's a tactic behind this, right? So let's try to stay away from 1-800 numbers if we can. I don't really have too much evidence that they don't work as well, but let's try to stay away from them. Try to keep the number local to where you're marketing, right? I get that it's $10 more a month. You guys are going to make $8,000 a deal or $12,000 a deal. Let's not skimp out on the phone number. And then we review and approve campaign. Usually we go through those things on the meeting, and then after you get results, you kick my chair and you go, okay, here's how many calls I got. Here's how many deals I have in the pipeline. And then that's so important because now I can watch out for you. Now I can say, hey, let's be careful with that. Let's keep an eye on that. See, we're kind of seeing a pattern. It's going down a little bit. Maybe we should pivot. There's some other pieces out there doing well. Let's test it in the middle, one piece, right? We're using best practice throughout that whole process. And all of that stuff we could do on a Zoom meeting. We don't have to do on a Zoom meeting. We can do it on a phone call. But the fact is, all of that stuff is free. The president of our company had one simple philosophy. And that is, if we tell you what's working in your market, you'll do better. If you do better, we'll do better because you'll buy more mail. That's it. That's pretty much it. So, that being said, free mail. Who doesn't want free mail? All right, free mail. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. This is the Accutech stuff, right? 48498. So, the phone number is 48498. It's just a short phone number. So you're going to type in that phone number, and you're going to type in VVNWBS. That's Victor. No, you guys get it, right? You can see it. N is in Nancy, WBS. All right, so when that happens, you're going to get to see AccuText going. What's going to end up happening is you're going to get a message from me that I've already prepared. And one's going to have a link, so you can click on it and actually enroll to get the mail. And you're going to want to enroll right now. It just asks you for your name, your email, and your social security number. It's easy. So just fill that stuff out, and then we're going to be able to pick a winner. And we're going to try to do it tonight. I want to do it tonight. And we're going to text the winner. So while you guys are networking and hanging out, we'll end up texting that winner. And then there's another link, my meeting link, to set a meeting with me. Change your world. Set a meeting. It's free. 30 minutes or an hour. Doesn't matter. I usually get booked up about a week and a half to 2 weeks in advance. I've got about 800 active clients at any given time across the United States. But chances are, if you're in this market or you're thinking about other markets, right, I'd be a pretty good guy to talk to. I'd be a pretty good guy because I could tell you, oh, I wouldn't do that one. I wouldn't do that one. I wouldn't do that one. You can get 2,000 pieces per deal there. You get 3,000 pieces, right? You know, so right now in California, we're at 8,000 pieces per deal. Miami-Dade, we're at somewhere around 7, right? So, but Miami-Dade, the deals are huge. The deals are huge. So Chattanooga, Tennessee, we're a lot like here, right? 1,500 pieces. Those are the kinds of things that you can also ask me questions, by the way, after this when we get into question and answer. But those are the kinds of things you can ask me if you want to ask me about your market, great. But hopefully, I'm going to leave that up for a little bit. And pretty much, I'm done. Was that okay? Did we do good? Did we like it? Thank you. Thank you. All right, Andrew, what do you want me to do? You want me to dance? Sing?
Yes, please.
I won't do it.
Got questions? Just raise your hand.
Questions?
You mentioned on the reverse texting message, putting the information in your CRM. Mm-hmm. What CRMs do you predominantly download to?
So I mean, the big ones out there, right, are one of the best is realestateinvestor.com, which is a Gary Boomershine company, and they're investor, I believe it was called Investor PO, and now they're realestateinvestor.com. But we work very closely with them. We work closely with all of them, so it doesn't matter. So I don't care if you got REI Black Book or FreedomSoft or any of those guys. I'm sorry? Confusionsoft? Yeah, you could, yeah. I use Infusionsoft for the commercial side of the business, but I actually have 2 or 3 different CRMs for the real estate side. But all of them usually take an email. Like you can map out an email, right? Yeah. And now that lead can go directly in, right? So they can text and suddenly you're getting an email that says this person just reached out to you, right? But then not only that, right? You can set up, thank you for asking that. Isn't this an opt-in? Isn't this a legal opt-in for you text people that are worried about getting sued? Sorry, I know I said the magic word. Nobody wants to get sued. But when you are doing a bunch of text blasts, right, and you're worried about that, this is a legal opt-in. I'm not an attorney, so I don't know if it's legal. But I will say that it feels like a legal opt-in, right? Because they text something to your marketing piece, basically saying, go ahead, communicate with me, right? So I know that in the state of Missouri, when I looked it up for my own personal marketing, I had 60 days to communicate back with that person where I could send them basically whatever I wanted for 60 days. And then I have to ask them to opt back in again. That was the Missouri law. Everybody needs to check the laws here, but feels like a good opt-in. So that means you could put them into a campaign inside of the CRM, an RVM, text, whatever, right? A lot of people are using it to build legal-ish, right, text blasting lists. Mm-hmm. Questions?
I was going to ask, so the offer check is pretty neat.
Cool, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. As far as like, if you pull the list, like say off a prop screen or something like that, or wherever you get your data, a lot of them have that estimated value. Mm-hmm. So you're saying like across the country, is it like an average of like 79, 80%? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, in a more aggressive market, we're you know, up around the 82 range. In a less aggressive market, you know, we're near the 79. Now, the thing is, I have other people out there still at 65, but they're racing the other direction. And I know they don't have it right. One, they're not listening to me. I'm telling them to raise it, right? And they go, no, we don't buy houses for that much. I say, you don't have to die on that hill. We're all negotiators. Are you kidding me? I'm a real estate investor too. Just because I go, sure, I want to come out and look at the house, doesn't mean I'm going to pay you. And by the way, the check says we'd like to turn this into a real check, right? It's not like we're saying this is a legal check. So then you get there and you go, you drove a bulldozer through the living room, Frank. I'm not going to pay you that much for your house, right? So let's negotiate here. That's what they're using it for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. I had a fantastic time. I hope to network with you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. That was